how did the Ravens only run the ball 6 times with running backs, Brian? What happened? What did you see? What have you seen since reviewing this game plan?
Well, Steve Spagnuolo, he's done this before, some of these game plans. He went to a big linebacker core, Rich. He went with Leo Chenal, Nick Bolton, and Drew Tranquil. And they came out with that big linebacking core, and they said, we're just going to box you in. We're not going to give you running lanes. But we'll leave our corners one-on-one with OBJ and Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. And if you can beat us, if the quarterback can beat us playing one-on-one coverage on the outside, then we'll give you those shots. And they couldn't do it. And I think it's because Lamar only had 2 designed runs, Rich. And so he's the best runner on the field by far. Like, it just seemed like and the score was never obviously greater than 17-7. Like, it just seemed like they forgot who they were during the course of that game.
So I guess, how does that happen? You know what I mean? Like, at some point, you still have to run the Gus bus, right? I mean, I know this is pure second guessing here, but
well, I mean, look, Gus's second run was 15 yards. Lamar's first run was the 4th and 1, where he split it for 21 yards. There were runs there. I mean, they've seen exactly what Kansas City did to them. They've seen it over the last 5 years. Teams are like, okay, let's just stack the box. And they still, I mean, Houston did some of that against them in the divisional championship round, and they ran for 220 yards. So, like, at some point, John Harbaugh has to step in and say, Todd Monken, that is. Like, look, let's get back. Let's get back to just pounding it right here. Let's establish this. Now, one of the parts, though, Rich, that they had 4 series where they were 3 and out. So you're not sustaining any offense. And so you're not able to stay on the field to get the running game going when you're just intermittently just off the field so quickly.
And then the other aspect of the AFC Championship Game is the latest example of the Chiefs flipping a switch on offense, certainly between Mahomes and Kelsey. But the second half, they didn't have any points. So what did you see from any of the film breakdown of what the Ravens were able to affect that the Niners might be able to against this team?
Well, they went a little bigger up front. They blitzed more than they had in the first half. They made Mahomes hold the ball a little bit more. And so that was a big part of – and then they just played better. Their whole defense, I mean, it's really pretty simple. I remember talking to Rod Woodson on Sunday morning about just what we could expect. And he's like, look, honestly, Baldy, this is a defense that's just prides itself on playing harder than anybody else. And they just played harder. They got off blocks. They refused to stay blocks. They pursued better. They tackled the catch. And so I just thought they just played better in the second half. They didn't do a whole lot more differently than what they had done to get to the point where they were.
And why does Kelsey, you'll be the latest, Brian, that I asked this question of, and I think you might even already know that where it's coming. Why does Kelsey get so wide open all the time? How does this happen? What do you see?
Well, so they had, obviously, he had 11 for 11. The ball didn't hit the ground, Rich. 7 of the 11 catches were no farther than 4 yards. I mean, Mahomes didn't have the ball. He didn't have the ball in his hands a second and a half. It was, I'm just going to go to the open stop. They have this thing. It's like Y stick is a route for a tight end. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, Kansas City calls it stash rash. So they have versions of stash rash. You're in zone. There's a 4-yard stop route, like on the first play of the game. We'll just get it to Kelsey. We'll get 4 yards. We'll stay on schedule. That was most of the plays now. On the opening drive, 4th and 2, Rich, you run sprint right option. And if it's not there, Pat, you got Kelsey on the backside. He'll be one-on-one with the corner. Like, you take the shot. Well, he took the shot, and it was a perfect throw. The corners, Brandon Stevens was right there, but Kelsey used his size, and Mahomes put it up on the rim. And then the touchdown against Kyle Hamilton is just one of those throws that we expect from Mahomes, but it's just one of those throws that you have to make in championship games to win those games. You can't throw it any better. And I don't know if you threw it 99 more times that you could throw it any better than what he did when he had to throw it. Because Hamilton was the perfect guy to cover him on that play. He just put it in a spot where he couldn't get to it.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.